All right, what's going on, everybody? Well, as it says, we're going to be shooting mule deer. I've actually shot a lot of really big mule deer here lately, and I'm hoping that continues, but progress has been kind of slow. I've got a lot of solo zones that bounce around, and that's become an issue. Luckily for me, I've discovered it. Off rip, we got a level 3 dilute. There we go. It's probably the only thing we'll see all day. By no means our biggest dilute of the grind, and well, kind of tired of seeing dilutes at this point. Oh, we ruined it because we shot him as 300. Whoops. I'm so used to doing that, I just, did it. He was big, I'd be really devastated, but a little guy. Actually, the 8th rare of this grind. Kind of insane considering I've shot almost 4,000 mule deer. No, did I wing that other one? I thought I dropped him. Oh, he's sitting right there. BC's going down. Hopefully that's the last one of those we do. Paid every time, but hopefully this is the run through. Rex has been on a roll with great ones. Wish she'd throw one my way here. Tin table, tin table, tin table. There's two of them standing side by side. I was like, there's something big out there, but it's two that look like one. That's a risky shot. Oh, we whiffed it. I'd rather just whiff it. We're going to move to the last zone here. Which might actually throw my... Yeah, I shouldn't. It was a max weight with that group, but... blew his ear off. Should put the tent closer to this zone. This zone's my time buffer. If I don't take this long walk, then I won't have my respawns. Fingers crossed that dilute was replaced with a 10 fabled. Maybe I should stop saying that. That's why it's not going on, you know? Almost shot the doe in the face. I did finally break a 340 plus muley. 342.18 or 0.81, I think. I'd have to look, but still, absolute giant mule deer. There would be wolves. That's frustrating. Well, I know there's a max weight at the next lake. Howdy, howdy, folks. Me too, Kennedy. Me too. And that's such a risky shot. I need to shoot him, though. Oh, we got him. So the guy would be all the way over here. That's okay. I'm gonna go grab this guy and then I'll fast travel back. You guys usually aren't this close up. There you go. You guys always make me change time. Super annoying. 10 fabled. All we need. That was weird. I don't know if he spawned in there or just happened to render in there. So far, so good. It's busy, you know. It's pretty much move-in ready, yeah. Definitely some projects in the future, but those will be summertime. Whiff that second one. Temperate. It gets cold in the winter, though. And not like Florida cold where it's like 65. It's like, you know, -15. Not all the time. That was almost really bad. Oh yeah. Now, Rick's, shout out Rick's, he's pure Canadian, so he's probably in 4 feet of snow right now. That's actually probably what he's doing. He's probably working. He's not working, he's popping great ones. I'll give him credit this time. It is the end of their drink time. Pretty sure I winged him that first shot. I'll see a 5 soon. I'll have to check my floater zones. So I might do that right now, at least in this spot. Not a max weight for. I do more run throughs without a 5, I'll shoot him. Yeah, those are it. Those are the best ones. Howdy, howdy. Nice, what you hunting, man? See, my solo zones have swapped positions. I guess it's possible respawns haven't happened yet. There you go. I actually use the shooting range a shocking amount, believe it or not. So tempting to shoot one of those goats. Dude, feral goats are awesome. What map were you hunting on? Yeah, that's how the addiction starts once you get your first trophy. You're to check that other zone. Emerald Coast. It's a good map. 10 fabled. Well, that's why the 243 ammo is free. But hey, with time, that's what this game takes, is practice. And having the proper gear helps too, of course. There's a lot of stuff you can ethically take on Emerald Coast though with the 243. You guys are a little bit closer than normal. Well, we leave a max weight alive once again, that's okay. Just depends on how close you are. I wouldn't recommend it though. Goats are a good choice. Kangaroos are ethical. Axis deer. There's also hog deer on there, I think. Pigs are on there. Those are all guns that'll give you full money for shooting stuff with it. Now, if you're just starting out, though, you know, the money thing, the experience, because, you know, I'm sitting here with all the perks and everything unlocked, so, like, makes the game much easier, of course. Which, when I'm doing super hardcore late stage, wouldn't recommend trying to grind anytime soon. There's a 5. Gonna go, well, I don't know, that's the 50-50 rack. He could actually make it. I'm gonna shoot him with 30-06. He's a troll. 309.37. Diamond is 311.94. That right side's definitely dime rack. Oh, his right, our left. Yeah, this is actually my second profile up here. But I was level 60 for years and years and years and years. Last July, I think it was. I did it. June, maybe. But I actually play on Xbox. Big Muley, just wish he didn't troll. We did get a 5 though, so I was worried we had something camping out somewhere it shouldn't be, but he spawned in there. Howdy, howdy. All the while, they really need to somehow make cross-platform possible. At least on consoles. I don't want to go to multiplayer lobby, you know, and just question every trophy that I see. I mean, they say that, but that's usually developer talk for it's really expensive and rather not. It's also why they'd rather build a new game instead. Because and the reason I say that is because multiplayer wasn't even a thing in Call of the Wild when it first came out. That was an add-on. Trying to get a third is a little cocky. Been playing a long time. Honestly, that's nowhere near, like I said, last June or July or whatever. I reset. I had hundreds of millions prior to that. Well, on PC, like with multiplayer, I mean, there. I mean, it's definitely an issue. Some people that just have no multiplayer etiquette, they're a problem. But I mean, for the most part, people are okay. On a PC, man, it's bad enough that I don't know how many times you load into a lobby and you're like, oh, everything's a 5. Everything's a diamond or a super rare. All right. Just past their drink time. I'm hoping that they're still there. Yep, they're gonna make me do it. They're gonna make me change time. Need to be about 250. These guys like to wander up close. And if I'm any closer than where I was there, as far as I can get. Not much better than where it was. Oh well. Oh, did me picking that up scare everything away? No, they're just hiding up in the trees. I'm just gonna move on because, well, I know there was just level 2s in that, so. Eating the Go-Gurt. very precarious shot. Peter did. Just don't spill the Go-Gurt. It's always really annoying when there's wolves. Howdy, howdy. Actually, be just one sec. Hopefully there's no wolves this time. I would shoot him high. Honestly, if we're patient, he might actually run straight to us. Or not. Just think he made it up this far. He didn't. Doubled that guy. I gotta shoot this little guy. Spine shot him. That's not good. Yeah, just stand there. There's 3 there too. Well, we're getting on a 4-wheeler. That hurt. Now I know this guy's dead. I need you to find the poop. I need you to find the blood. No track found. That's not good. I don't think these are actually his tracks. Oh, he's dead right there. Perfect. I want to check this leak just to make sure. In single player, they work pretty good. But multiplayer, that's a different story. That was actually a pretty risky shot, too. Howdy, howdy. See, that solo male's not been here for a second, so I'm trying to figure out where exactly he went. That's got to be this level 4 that's up here. somewhat embarrassing, but we got him in the end. Oh, sorry, I was not paying attention to chat there. Best money to get map money on. I definitely agree with Kennedy. Depending on what you have, Emerald Coast is. I mean, everything's worth like $1,200 on that map. So, if you're into duck hunting, that shockingly is worth an insane amount of money. Yeah, I'd say Emerald Coast. Well, depending on, skill level, but I would also put Saltzweisen on that category. It's all small game, but everything's worth a lot. Yeah, that's the awesome thing about Call of the Wild is, if you know the map, you can still play in multiplayer. Trying him right in the noggin. Driving to the Coast is a decent map for money. Silver Ridge Peaks, pretty good. Arguably Silver Ridge Peaks, now the animal, well, I don't know, Emerald Coast fits in this category. Silver Ridge Peaks, it's easy to find stuff, so the more stuff you shoot, the better. Why nothing's standing there? That's a little weird. Maybe there was wolves nearby I didn't see. Favorite gun? Obviously, it's species dependent, but I mean, 300 is really reliable when it comes to, big game. Honestly, 375 is a little bit better in that category. Right now, my favorite's the 450 Johansson, actually. It is a DLC weapon, but I like it. Is it the best? No. It's just something about it. I also really enjoy the M1. and always have. That's kind of been my like OG go-to weapon. Yeah, I would say in terms of like sure like just bang for your buck. 300 stuff. If you don't have DLC weapons, 300 is definitely the way to go because that gives you access to class 7 through 9, and that means you can shoot crocodiles on Emerald Coast and just make insane amounts of money in XP. There we go. That's why we're not getting 5s. I figured this dude would be over here. I actually don't want to shoot him with a 300. I don't want him to drop immediately. I want him to run. Oh, he's going to run the wrong direction. Dang it. I've got a tent over here. I was hoping he'd run to the tent. If I'm not mistaken, too, the high power pack comes with the 300, right, and the 7mm bolt action, which is like that is actually my real deal favorite gun. It ebbs and flows in like what I'm using, but like ultimately, like if I'm gonna carry a rifle with me out like in a multiplayer session for run and gun example, I'm gonna have the 7mm on me. It's just too versatile, and it really is stout for what it is. Is it the 300? No. But if you're caught with your pants down and all you've got your 7mm with you, and you're good to go. And I think that comes with the. Is it the. What comes with the. What DLC was it that came with the 20 gauge? Semi auto. Not the best bird gun per se, but. Get your toe in the water. Get you access to birdshot. Yep, Malmer. 7mm. It's goated. I mean, pound for pound, the 7mm Malmer is the best gun in the game. It's not even biased. It's just facts. It's too versatile. It's just powerful enough to be, And I could actually grind with it if I wanted to. I don't, because if I miss a shot, the 300 is going to do more damage than the 7mm will. Bring them down just a little bit faster. Need to change time. Probably will after I shoot this guy. Silver Ridge Peaks is like up there on the list for me as far as like go-to maps. What? Oh well, yeah, it is the end of drink time. Now we will say the 7mm at this range is not have my full confidence. We'll sling lead though, see what happens. Oh, that stopped in a really bad spot. I just need you to turn around one more time. He's not gonna do it. Nope, nope, he did it. He did it. That was a little high. 7mm shoots real flat. Then again, at that range, it's 300 plus. It dropped a little bit. Bantang are really fun too. I mean, they're basically just bison, but more cow-like. Gonna fire off a round here in the crowd just to see if there's somebody hiding out here in the bushes. See nothing. I think that level 10, that max weight we shot at the other lake, that last run through, was the guy that should be there. Yeah, the water buffalo is about that life. Cape Buffalo R2. Did I no way just shoot this zone down to nothing but ones? That might force me to shoot some solos. Well, I'm real curious to see what it's going to spawn because of that. I will say this, in terms of getting killed in this by stuff in this game though, it's not stuff that attacks you, it's stuff that runs away from you. Like, I've been killed by more deer than anything else. something else will spook when you don't realize it. Next thing you know, you're knocked out going back to the lodge. As far back. Remember when it was, but I thought about 1,000 rounds of 300 ammo, and I'm down to 89 rounds. It is a good thing, but where they're located, that's like my main zone. Now there was a couple ones there to begin with, and I think that there's going to be a swallow or a solo that'll swap in there, but it is a good thing. I just wish that happened like on my exterior zones where I've been shooting these solo. Oh, that's a dilute. That's another dilute, and that's a big one, folks. That's a Looking at that rack, he's not going to make it, but technically 264 to 325, that could be a super rare. But it's not, because that rack won't make diamond. Two dilutes so far this evening. He turned right when I pulled the trigger. Still got the job done, though. I mean, mule deer are actually pretty hard to come by. That's a nice muley, though. 287. I figured he wouldn't make. He's still going to the trophy lodge. That makes the little level 3 we shot literally the very beginning of the stream. Got a dilute. There's dilute number 2. So that's rare number 9 of this nearly 4,000 kill grind. If that puts it in perspective. If this was fallow, I'd probably have 100 plus. Rares. Maybe not that high, but still a lot in comparison. I will say, prior to this grind, I think, if memory serves correctly, I only had 3 diamond mule deer. And that's since playing before mule deer were released. And it wasn't for lack of trying. Mule deer are just one of those species that they're just naturally harder to find diamonds for. Plenty of max weights. I'm hoping this cleans them out. We actually get a 5 to spawn. Now, obviously, what we're doing here is in game. You know, we're herd managing and we're kind of forcing the situation, but Try to go for the headshot. Either we got him in the ear or shoulder lifted up right when I pulled the trigger. I don't know. Either way, he's down. Well, speaking of dedication, well, that's not true. Recently, I say recently, a few months ago, I started like kind of not hardcore, but started grinding off stream. But 99.9% of this grind has been live the entire time because I wanted to spawn this great one live, but I got arrogant thinking we were going to spawn this dude, 500 or less kills, and here we are. Hit him right in the antler. Right in the old antler. I'm gonna check this lake, make sure nothing fishy standing there. Man. Where's the max weight here? Okay. Just for Moonies. A little too high for the 7 milli, but he's done skis. Drive down there. Is that a crowd? With those little ones being in that zone, that this could be next couple run throughs could be interesting here. Now we've got Scotland coming to the game as well. They haven't announced when, but I would imagine early December, if I had to guess. My bet currently is between the 7th and 12th. I don't know. The thing is, they've kind of lost their and I say this not out of ill will, but as an actual fan. So, like, oh, back in the day, man, they'd go all out to announce a map, and now they're just like, oh, by the way, Facebook post, Scotland's coming out. Truth be told, I want... So back, they did this thing back in the day where they added a little thing called true racks. For those that don't know, true racks is the system that's in game that, you know, decides what racks animals are going to give. And like used to, there was just one rack for everything. And at first they just added it for whitetail, and then the demand for everything at that point was so high. That's what, for years, that was the big thing. What was, instead of great ones, it was who's getting true racks, you know? And I really hope with time that's the exact same thing with great ones. Everything becomes a great one. And my reasoning behind it is so I don't have to, I want a passive grind. I want to run around my map, shoot everything that I see, and have the potential at some point for one of those things to be a great one. And I just winged the crud out of him. Pretty sure I just shot him in the ear. Well, that's going to be a hefty track job. Long story short, like I said, I'd like to see all of them to be great ones, but the next one, man, they keep giving love to moose for some reason. They need to give love to red deer. All these great ones have all these variations and all those fur types, and there's poor little red deer. Granted, red deer were released back in the day, kind of like whitetail, where it's like good luck finding, you know, one of these, let alone hundreds. That's it. If I just sit here and really think about it and not just kind of, ooh, that looks like a big boy back there. Is that a 50-50 rack level 5? I hope it is. Decent sized 4. It's going to turn around on me. I got him. Okay. I was like, I couldn't outline him. I did see like antler, so I guesstimated where he was standing at. I saw him turn around. Personally, this would make a lot of people mad, but the great one pheasant was kind of neat. Be kind of cool if they had like a great one mallard. That would give me an excuse to set up some duck blinds. That's sick. I actually do too, but it's only one. And I've killed thousands of mallards. I still don't have a blonde one. Been looking for one of those for years. I don't know. Like I said, ultimately all of them. I mean, why not? It gives like, it doesn't, like, if you want a great one, for example, but your favorite animal to hunt isn't anything that's the great one, you know, it kind of defeats the purpose for those people. And I was one of those people at first that I didn't. Whitetail were fine because they kept their racks like realistic. You know, there can be some pretty wild, you know, whitetail antler variations. But then the moose came out and I was a little offended because I'm like, that's so unrealistic. But at this point, I could care less. Let's get creative, devs. Man, I do. I used to be totally against it too. I used to hate duck hunting. I used to, like, literally for the longest time. Before, like, because there was like a dry spell. I'm trying to think. Was it after Raventuli Coast came out? Maybe. I think it was. Hang on, just a sec. All right, what were we talking about? Males there told me that these guys swapped out. Duck hunting. Okay. So yeah, I used to be pretty opposed to the whole duck hunting thing because, like, I mean, at first, that was their first attempt at DLC. Back in the day, you know, there was mallards in the game. You had a shotgun in the game, but maybe there was a collar. I don't know. There weren't decoys or anything, and that was like their first DLC. I was like, well, that's annoying. I don't want to spend money just to hunt ducks. And then they released the 22. But I was still like, I'm not going to get... I literally, until after Raventuli Coast came out, I didn't buy any sort of, like, shotgun DLC. But in... whenever they released Eurasian Teal on Africa, I decided one day to just try it out. Like, what's going on here, you know? Let's go all out. We'll get the decoys. We'll get the collars. And then I was hooked immediately because I'm like, this is insane. once you enter the flow state, you're just dropping birds left and right. And it's an insane amount of fun. Get a little level 2 pop in there. I'll shoot him. It definitely takes practice. Do you think some people, first time using the shotgun, jump in there, think it's like duck hunt, and you just like kind of point towards them and they're all just gonna die, and it's like, nope. Especially if you're on console, it takes practice. But there's certain spots, especially on like Reventuli Coast, Salzweisen, where you can set up and just, you're swamped in 30, 40 birds, you know, every 5 minutes. Sure those are all true level 2s. The other big downside, unless you have access to a DLC shotgun, is you actually have to unlock birdshot, and that can actually be a real pain in the butt. Because buckshot's terrible. Slugs, it's okay. I don't know, if you did it right, I guess it wouldn't be so bad, but honestly, I'd probably use the buckshot on the birds anyway. Just hope you don't shoot a diamond. But if you have DLC shotty, you don't gotta worry about it. I'm gonna change time here. It's definitely worth it though, man. It does take a little bit of patience. You know, you gotta wait for the birds to come in. You gotta wait for them to commit too. That's the thing. Like, for me, I don't like shooting them in the air. I like to be as fair as possible. Wait for them all to bunch up on the ground, and then you shoot like 6 of them at a time. But once they're airborne, there you go. And then once you get good enough at it, and then you have enough shotguns, you kind of equip them all, and then you just simply swap over. Actually, duck hunting is what caused me to turn off my auto reload setting. If you carry that's also why I carry so many weapons. When I'm out of ammo, I'll sacrifice a couple rounds here. Notice it doesn't reload. I can just immediately switch to my next weapon and I'm ready to rock and roll. I don't have to go through the reload animation. And if I've got 2 more guns lined up behind this, I effectively have 30 round magazine. Thought I wounded one over here. Honestly, it's fun enough for me anyways, like it's a game in of itself. Like you could go for each map that has waterfowl. For me, I could honestly probably go all in on the waterfowl and never touch the land and be satisfied. And then you would think, well, wouldn't it be annoying with more than one person doing it with you? And it's like, no, the more people have, the more fun it becomes. And if everything's working normal, we should be running into a 5. Fingers crossed. Oh yeah, like I said, if you're patient enough, and if you're in the right spot, it's nothing to have 30 or 40 birds land on you at the same time. And, you know, you can't shoot them all. But if you got buddies with you, you can sure try. And then what's really cool, and I don't know if this was an intended feature or just a happy, you know, whatever, but when you turn dog ordering off, if like none of your guys have a dog but you do, like me, like they don't have to worry about it because I can just send my dog after their stuff. Does it bring it to me? Yeah, but they get the money for it. That's what's kind of cool too, because like it's ultimately fair because you don't get the money if you know what I mean. You get the money for what you shoot. So there's no, hey, it was my bird, you know. Now if it's a diamond, that's a different story, but that's why you got to pay attention to what you're picking up. And, you know, when it comes to diamonds and rares in that scenario, depending on how close your group is, that's where I don't think it's dishonest or disingenuous to ghost that map and, you know, let everybody have that trophy, because it kind of is everybody's, you know, everybody's there and did it together kind of thing. And the thing with the waterfowl is, if you want respawns, you've actually got to kill them all. Can't just shoot the male bird and expect him to respawn. Nope, you got to shoot Sally and Mary and all of them. I've done that with rares with them, which really sucks because rare waterfowl are pretty rare. And it's like, no, I just did that. Yep. And like I said, once you kind of like get enough practice with it and start getting, you know, good at it, that's where it's like, oh. Like, you don't have to worry about shot placement with them. As long as you hit them, they're gonna die. There's an insane amount of them. Don't gotta worry about hunting pressure. They'll just keep respawning. It's a ton of fun. But, like I said, if you're on console... That's gotta be it. Nope. Not even close to dime. Alright. Where'd he come from? I hope that was not an antler shot. I didn't want that four to live. He can't. A lot of the times what I'll do now is I'll really try to spot everything that I can and just really quickly, like a quick cursory, make sure there's no level 3s kind of thing. I mean, level, you know, the level 2 dimes and stuff like that for waterfowl are possible, but and here's the thing. As far as practice goes, if you have Salzweisen, or Salzweisen multiplayer, I guess, they've got a skeet range. You can practice shooting birds with your shotgun. Ipso facto, you can practice shooting anything on the move. on that range. Clay targets, but if you can hit a clay target, you can hit a mule deer, you know? That'll help. Not that, you know, the trajectory system in Call of the Wild is like hyper realistic. The mechanics are exactly the same like they would be in real life. So the fact that you could do it in real life or have some practice in it in real life means then you should actually get it down fairly easier. I do wish there'd be a little more feather action when you shot birds. You know, I want to see some poofies and explodies. And again, you know, a joystick or a, I don't know. That's where, like, especially in a game like this, like, the mouse for aiming is superior, you know, but I don't know. Those fundamentals are there, you know how to lead, you know, a target based on range. That's where, like, that's where it makes me struggle with some of the weapons, like the 20 gauge semi-auto, for example. It's a terrible word gun in my opinion, and honestly, it makes the over/under that they added for the Saltwise and Skeet range just as terrible. You can tell they made the 20 gauge auto real heavy. Like, the rounds are heavy. They don't have as much range as they should. Like, I've got to aim 35 feet away. The target's not even on the picture, and I'm pulling the trigger here. I think it's a bug, honestly. And it's one of those deals not enough people use the 20 gauge to realize it's a bug. Now, I will say the 20 gauge semi-auto on ducks alone, pretty nasty little gun, man. Doesn't do well at all against geese. Really anything else. And, you know, if I did have a bone to pick in the authenticity department, they kind of penalize you almost, even with lightning hands or quick hands. The semi-auto guns are a little sluggish to reload, and you know, it's one of those things. It's kind of like, I get it, it's a game. We're gonna add some difficulties, but hey now. Let me quick load this shotgun. What are we doing? And while the waterfowl mechanics in the game are pretty basic in terms of like waterfowl hunting, it's good enough. Like if they dedicated time, they could make a dedicated waterfowl hunting game. I think waterfowl hunting in Hunter Classic is like you might as well like it saves you money on duck decoys because you don't gotta go do it. Just go play that game. That's how good it is. This game's a lot of fun though. Honestly, me talking about it makes me want to go shoot waterfowl. Why are there no mule deer here? That's concerning to me. Let's change time forward by a minute and see what happens. Now, as far as in game, yeah, the 12 gauge pump, the one that you can just buy, it's not DLC. That's the best shotgun in the game. There's still yet to be anything added to it that kind of defeats it or dethrones it. It's just solid. It's got 6 rounds. Would probably be a felony where I live if I had it with 6 rounds in the tube. Really though, at the end of the day, they're all kind of good for what they're now. Like I said, the 20 gauge semi-automatic, not a very good bird gun. Well, okay, not a very good duck gun. What it is very good at is killing upland game birds. Like, well, pheasants kind of iffy. They did acknowledge there is something up there. They tried to fix it. It's better, but not great. But stuff like grouse, stuff like that, smoke shows them. It's an excellent. It's worth it for rabbit hunting, in my opinion, because you can actually. I've very successfully killed rabbits at over 100 yards with the 20 gauge semi-auto, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, obviously, I'm just being really nitpicky. You can get good with the 20 gauge on waterfowl, but pound for pound, 12 gauge is it. Because it's also a gun that you can load with different, depending on the situation. Let's just say you want to get crazy with it. All you have on you, you are waterfowl hunting, but lo and behold, you look over and for some reason there's a diamond or a rare or something that you want to shoot. Well, shotgun's diverse enough. You can load slugs or buckshot, and that changes what you can shoot with it. And I think in looking back, I think in hindsight, Call the Wild kind of wanted, I think, players to progress in the route of, because you started out with the 243 and 12 gauge shotgun, and I think they kind of wanted you to go that shotgun route first, and then because if you don't, like I said, if you don't have birdshot, now they did lower the requirements, but still, if you don't have birdshot unlocked, man, it's a grind to unlock it. I mean, I wouldn't deny yourself if you wanted to try out the old semi-autos. They're not that bad, I wouldn't say no to them. But at the end of the day, performance-wise, 12 gauge is it. No DLC, no real money required. That's just the hard and fast facts. I will say when it comes to duck hunting, there's some perks that I think are fairly important for it to be as enjoyable as possible. Lightning hands, that's useful for anything in my opinion. Reload speed, folks. Especially if you're waterfowl hunting, that's important. Reload those guns. You need to. Of course, shotgun perks are important. Recoil management is huge. I don't have boomstick. I do actually like tracer shot. If you were a dedicated waterfowl hunter, I would 100% recommend using tracer shot. But I can't justify using it because I don't spend enough time shooting waterfowl. That though, when you activate it, it turns your pellets into tracers, and you can see exactly where you're shooting at for like the first 3 rounds. And that helps kind of close that gap if they're out there a little too far or something. And it actually helps you pattern your gun way better than, you know. You can actually see what those pellets are doing when you're not shooting tracer shots, and so that helps gauge where you need to aim at. I remember which gun it is. I think it's the 20 gauge semi-auto, maybe. You know, one of those guns has a more vertical spread pattern. Which once I understood that, I was like, oh, this gun doesn't suck. I just suck. If it was still, I don't know. I don't know what the requirements are to unlock birdshot anymore. But back in the day, it was worth the $6 to just buy a shotgun that was good enough with birdshot, and then you just passively unlock it with that. Now that said, you can cheese the unlock, like I said. Ain't nothing stopping you from sitting there duck hunting with buckshot. You're gonna get less money, but buckshot's super cheap, and you're gonna get shotgun score. Because in order to be really effective and kill stuff with the shotgun game, like with slugs and stuff, like you got to be really like ludicrously close, like annoyingly, like you might as well bow hunt close. Actually, yeah, you should. That's how terrible slugs are. And it's a grind. Now that said, you can skip the grind if you have Mexico. Technically as a DLC, but it's not like a, I don't know, it's part of the map, I guess. But you know, you could get birdshot that way, but I don't know. Then again, the grind, like I said, that gives you the ability and opportunity to kind of practice with the thing. If I had unlocked birdshot, I would literally just set up on birds like I would. And just make sure there's no diamonds with them. Go to town. Because here's the deal, you might only get 2 shotgun score, but if you're shooting 30, 40 birds, you know what I mean? It adds up very, very fast. Birdshot or buckshot, they're not going anywhere. I will say, like, outside of the maps that just give you decoys and stuff, if you don't have decoys, that could be an issue. Decoys are expensive though. Can get expensive. Really, you just need to have 20. Whatever you're setting up. Now, if you're in one of those hotspot areas, though, having 20 of every species that you could possibly shoot, that adds up. Where my mule deer went. I don't know which grind was worse though. Birdshot or the 454 full metal jacket. Unlike everybody else. Because now I think it starts out automatically unlocked. Or at least a version of it. I don't know, it's like a free DLC thing. But, man. Getting pistol score back in the day was a rough go. I don't know. Now that I know what I'm doing, pistols are actually pretty OP. .454 especially, that's a kind of a unique gun in the sense that it will literally nuke anything that you shoot with it. Wait, and hell, let's do one more run through, folks. That's about all we've got time for, unfortunately. I was gonna go put stuff in the trophy lodge, but I've actually filled that trophy lodge up so full at this point that what I want to do is keep that taxidermy list going to where I can just kind of scroll through it and like show it, and then maybe try to fill some slots with it. Knocking on wood at the end of this grind, if it will ever end. I said it since day one, and like now we're creeping closer. I don't know, we'll see, but like we hit 4,000 kills. I think we're gonna give up on the mule deer grind and refocus back on what we're here for, ultimately. And that is trophies and rares, man. Don't get me wrong, I like the challenge of this great one, but it's like it's absolutely taken away what I like to do in the game, and I need to get back to it. This guy wasn't so stubborn and would just, you know. I actually kind of want to go back to shooting fox. That was a fun little grind. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but you have to shoot both fox. Which means you delete the zone, you have to find the new zone. But once you get the hang of it, it's fun. I'm not seeing any male mule deer. Is a little sus. Okay, none of the big guys are out. Oh, right. Wolves are definitely a problem. But, believe it or not, mountain lions are worse, so that's why we're on Askew Ridge. I accidentally missed picking up a muley, because that's what this seems like. Something weird's going on. But literally, if you guys go back and check the YouTube toast, that was prior to stream. I kind of figured, I don't know, that's not true. We shot back to back. Not back to back, but we shot 2 dilutes. One of them was a pretty nice sized one. Not a total bust tonight. But no great one. So it's a bust. That's alright. Next time we're going to do some running gunning, I think. Pop this guy, make sure there's no bigger one up there. All right, folks. Fortunately, no great one, but just means we gotta keep at her. Like I said, though, I think next time we were talking about duck hunting a lot. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But that being said, I appreciate everybody stopping by, and we'll see you guys on the next one.